For matters by the public. You'll have 3 minutes, sir. And if I could ask Miss Linda Smith to join on to your right, my left. And whenever you're ready, Mr. Martin.
Okay. Drew Martin, on behalf of the Loxahatchee Group at the Sierra Club. I wanted to first congratulate the mayor on his appointment to
Thank you,
mayor of
Mr.
Palm
Martin.
Beach County. Well-deserved. Look forward to working with you. And excited about your bond proposal. Look forward to learning more about that.
Thank you.
We are really focused on a couple of things at the Sierra Club. And of course, Florida Forever, another bond proposal that passed the state as Amendment 1 5 years ago. And the reason I missed some of your meeting this morning is I was at the legislative delegation to speak in favor of that. And I will be watching your meeting on TV when it's replayed, because I do want to see how it went with the Army Corps of Engineers and the colonel. I think that water quality is also an important thing, and so as we talk about lake levels, and I'm assuming you talked about lake levels because I know that's an issue, I think it's important also to consider how those levels impact water quality. And I think water quality is a significant issue for Palm Beach County. Also, we're going to be working with the legislature, and I brought this up today, to see if we can do away with the preemption on bag and styrofoam bans. And I hope that if we are successful, that the board might consider some sort of restriction on plastic bags. And I don't know if any of you saw, PBS did a documentary on single-use plastics. 40% of the plastic manufactured today is single-use. It means it's only used one time. And if you happen to see this documentary, or you can replay it, one of the big problems is that plastic is getting into the ocean significantly, to the point where there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish, or fish, you see organisms. And plastic does not go away. That means when you use a plastic bag for 15 minutes to carry groceries out of the grocery store, that bag is going to be around for hundreds of years in some way. Now, plastic will degrade into smaller particles, but it's still there. And then it gets into the organisms of the sea, it gets into the mollusks, it gets into the oysters, and it gets into the fish. And you ultimately are consuming that. We don't know what the long-term impacts are that, so I hope you will look into that. Also, I just want to say the issue on climate change is getting worse. They're talking about maybe 12 or 13 years. I'm not sure exactly what happens in 12 or 13 years. I don't know if I want to find out, but the point is we've gone well over 400 parts per million in carbon, and I appreciate that the County Commission is looking into that, and I appreciate Commissioner Weiss attending the meeting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Commissioner McKinley, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Martin, I want to thank you for always being here and holding our feet to the fire to make sure we have someone to speak at Matters by the Public. My cousin is working with a nonprofit, I think it's called Ocean, and she's out in Santa Monica right now, and they just received a grant for their startup. This nonprofit goes through and they kind of clean the ocean. They try to go around and take all the plastics out of it. And so the city of Santa Monica is going to utilize a process that takes that plastic and they use it to make the recyclable bins that they're going to be putting out on their beaches. Just thought that might be something you want to look into and see if there's other communities doing that. And perhaps at some point in the future, we could look at doing something like that here.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner McKinley. And Mr. Martin, I appreciate your comments, and I look forward to working with you personally on your input for the bond proposal. And I greatly appreciate your perspective and your dedication to these causes.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate everything the Commission does.
Absolutely. And just for clarity of the record, I am joined here by Commissioners Berger, Bernard, McKinley, and Valashay. Our two other commissioners are excused. Ms. Smith, I believe, and then we'll have to this microphone Ms. Evelyn Tejada as our last speaker. You're recognized, ma'am.
Hello, my name's Linda Smith. I live in Jupiter, unincorporated Palm Beach County. Welcome, new mayor. We also look forward to speaking with you in regards to this multi-million-dollar bond fund for the environment and natural resources. I'm also a member of the Sierra Club and a fistful of other environmental groups. I'm sure that good science will be behind that, and I look forward to hearing more about that. Also, congratulations on attaining Florida Green Building Coalition's Green Local Government Silver certification. I know that was in June, but I just realized that. And in 2012, you were certified, and now you're certified silver. So looking forward to in the future maybe achieving gold. Yay! I've spoken a number of times about electric charging stations. I have reached out to the Office of Resilience and understand there are 3 DC fast charging stations in the premium parking lot at the PBI International Airport. And I'm just kind of questioning, what are the rest of us supposed to do if we're not at the airport? The Office of Resilience has been working with the facilities and are working on procurement of charging stations for 4 other locations, including the Palm Beach Convention Center. Again, I'm not sure if all 4 are going to the convention center or if there will be 3 someplace else. And they are hopeful that these 4 charging stations will be installed within a year. I found that a little disappointing, but I encourage you to continue and to try to push for more of that. I understand PalmTran will be buying 3 electric buses and charging stations, and they should be in place by 2024, and that's 3 out of 150 buses. I also wanted to speak briefly about Stop the Burn out in the sugarcane. I don't know if you're aware, in Brazil, Native Brands Cane Project, which is the world's largest organic agricultural organization, was started in 1986. With over 30 years of experience, Native brand farmers are recognized. They recognized that the pre-harvest sugarcane burning wreaked havoc on the surrounding ecosystem, and it ruins the soil, destroyed animal habitat, and produced toxic air pollution. Sugarcane trash should be utilized as a soil strengthening mulch instead of as a waste byproduct and smoke and ash. Over time, Native Brands' green harvesting methods have created 20% higher yields. They have also completely phased out the use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides and boosted biodiversity. To me, that is a very good idea. And I guess I'm out of time. But
Yes,
I'll be
ma'am.
glad to talk more about it.
Well, and I just also wanted to reiterate, much like Drew Martin, that we do appreciate your input and comments here during the public comment period. And you're leaving an impression, and I know that Vice Mayor Weinroth is very passionate about one of those issues, as I think we all are becoming passionate about it. And I hope that we can make further progress on it, and maybe the bond proposal can be a part of that.
Okay, and I appreciate your quote to the younger generations. What is it that we are going to do for the next generation?
Well, having been born and raised here, I think about that every day, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We are now into our last public speaker, Mrs. Evelyn Tejada. To this microphone, please. Hi. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Evelyn Tejada,
Yes, ma'am.
and I'm now in the process of relocating to Palm Beach County.
Welcome.
Coming from Atlanta, I was there for 2 years, getting my master's in public health at Emory, but in environmental health. And I really should be retiring, but my travels around the world and in many states and for vacations, I've become very much aware of the environmental factors on health. But what was more concerning to me was not, air pollution outdoors or high altitudes or all these other, climate. It was more the indoor air quality. And I started to, as a hobby, look into this. And so I just see a certain trend these days happening with construction. And it's very concerning, and I just want to bring it to the attention of people who can look at this holistically, because the things that I'm seeing are correctable, and when I bring it to the attention of those in the industry, they're saying it's an eye-opener. For example, the way condensate drain lines are done in the HVAC systems. If I can ask anyone in the room, would they put a fan to any drain in their home, pulling air from that drain into their living space?
We're delighted that you're here today, but our custom is not to answer questions from the dais,
Oh, okay,
unfortunately.
great. So, doesn't matter if I'm talking to ASHRAE, which is, are you familiar with ASHRAE? Association for Refrigerated and Air Conditioning and all that good stuff. I did some research on this problem. It caught the attention of the CDC. But it's not one thing within the homes, the residential homes that we're building. It's, let's say, the plumbing connections. People are, an architect will put a design in for a drain to be connected to a vent stack, the thing that goes up through the roof. But the builder will come in and say, oh no, we're allowed to use this air admittance valve, for example, and not connect it to a vent stack. And there are these things just so you can have a center island or just to save money. But I did some studies on this too, and sewer gases are coming through. And sewer gases type of thing where carbon monoxide or methane, they're odorless. And even hydrogen sulfide, as stinky as that is, if you're smelling it long enough, you get olfactory fatigue and you kind of tune it out. So it's not one thing, it's a lot of things. And it's, to me, I just want to bring it to the attention of someone who isn't an architect, an engineer, or a plumber, because the building sciences are here and the health sciences are here, and neither cares about the other. So, if I can't even talk to a pulmonologist, it's hard to even get to them. But if they saw what was going on with these installations, they'd be very concerned. And I'm here today only because I'm looking for a place to live, rental or purchase. And every place I'm going, I'm noticing these odors, and I'm saying to the leasing agent, do you smell this? Definitely, they smell it. So it's not a sensitivity on my part. You know what I'm saying?
I understand, and excuse me, Ms. Tejada, unfortunately, you're only limited to 3 minutes at
No,
public
that's
comment,
good.
and if I change the rules for you, I got to change it for everybody.
No,
But
that's
we're
good.
delighted that you're here in Palm Beach County, and we can assist in finding a place to rent or purchase. And we have a question or comment by Commissioner McKinley.
Thank you. Perhaps it would be a good thing for you to meet with Doug Wise, who is our county building official, to set up a meeting with him.
Yes, I sent him a note, and I wanted to, have at least a 10-minute talk with him. And I met with the chief plumbing inspector, mechanical inspector, and so what he mentioned to me was that it was an eye-opener, what I showed him. So I just want to pique your interest, and I really wasn't ready for a 3-minute talk, so I apologize. But
That's all
thank you
right.
very much for the opportunity.
Certainly, and thank you for coming down to your local government. That concludes the speaking cards. So this Board of County Commissioner meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.